All right, you're going to want to stick around for this one. We are about to unpack one of the most wonderfully bizarre, truly mind-bending stories I have ever come across. Seriously, it kicks off looking like a tech romance, but it quickly spirals into this wild psychological thriller, and then it ends. Well, it ends somewhere you will absolutely not see coming. This is the story of a woman who built her entire life like a computer protocol, and what happens when one single glitch rewrites everything.
So we're not easing you in, we're dropping you right into the heart of the chaos. I want you to just imagine a first date that is so catastrophically weird. It feels less like a social thing and more like a coordinated hack on your own perception of the world. This one sentence, it perfectly captures the surreal, unpredictable vibe of this entire story. So yeah, buckle up. Okay, so who is at the center of all this? Let's meet our protagonist. Her name's Anastasia Myles, Anna for short. And her whole life, every part of it, is a protocol. It's a system built on pure logic, efficiency, and basically zero emotional messiness. But then, one day, a single, totally accidental thumb swipe on a dating app introduces a bug her system literally cannot compute. And that's when everything starts to unravel. And get this, Anna's job is a digital thanatologist. She mourns dead AIs for a living. I mean, just think about that for a second. Her job is to find comfort in the clean, verifiable, logical end of a machine's life. She writes these beautiful eulogies for them in Python. It's the absolute perfect way for her to process the idea of grief without ever having to touch the chaotic, unpredictable mess of actual human emotions. And her past? Oh, it's just as strange. Her resume is like a collection of anthropological field trips into the weirdest corners of the gig economy. A face feeler, an online dating ghostwriter, a pet hypnotist who had to, and I'm not making this up, deprogram a Chihuahua who thought it was a 19th century Luddite. Every single one of these jobs was her way of studying human weirdness from a very safe clinical distance. So let's get back to that first date. We're not talking about just some awkward small talk here. A radical anti-tech group, the Loom Breakers, unleashes this citywide glitch storm. Ambient whale songs in the cafe suddenly morph into a crypto podcast. The sky turns neon pink. Self-driving unicycles trap them in logic puzzles. A burrito explodes into a cloud of QR code confetti. Reality itself is being hacked, and for Anna, it's the most alive she has ever felt. So, what do you do when your entire life is about order and beautiful, terrifying chaos just crashes your party? Well, if you're Anna, you build another protocol. Faced with these two totally opposing forces in her life, she goes right back to what she knows and turns her love life into a bizarre but very rigorous research project. And this is the core of her problem, right? On one side, you've got the idea of Satoshi, this mythical, perfect, orderly creator of the systems that she loves and understands. It's an abstract digital ideal. And on the other side, you've got Alberto Daniel Hill, the guy from the chaotic date. He's a tangible, messy, completely human glitch. So the question becomes, which one is the better protocol for living a life? To find out, she creates something she calls the A-B test of the heart. It's 5 completely absurd trials. Who's better at assembling IKEA furniture? Who can calm down that Luddite Chihuahua? Who's better at planning a spontaneous date? And in every single test, from building a bookshelf to making an emotional connection, the perfect digital idea fails spectacularly. And the chaotic human, Alberto, wins. Every single time. The final score is 5-0, a total clean sweep. Now for Anna, this isn't just, a surprising outcome. This is a catastrophic identity failure. Her own perfectly logical system just gave her empirical proof that her entire worldview was wrong. It's like her core programming just shattered, and her mind, it triggers a full-on system crash. So to deal with this completely unbearable truth, Anna's subconscious does the only thing it knows how to do. It builds another protocol. This time, a protocol for retreat. She just dives deep into a series of internal simulations, desperately running scenarios, trying to find some version of reality, any version of the future that she can actually survive in. Her mind starts cycling through these 5 totally different realities. She tries embracing the messy romance, then she tries escaping into a perfect digital world, then she tries just devoting herself to pure ideology. Each one is a desperate attempt to solve the equation of her life, and, well, each one fails in its own spectacular way. So in the first simulation, she follows the data. She chooses Alberto. She chooses the struggle. And as this grand gesture, she embeds his life story onto the blockchain. But here's the glitch. The act is too perfect. It's too clean, too much like her old job morning machines. She hasn't actually embraced chaos. She's just organized it. So the simulation crashes. Okay, so next she flees to the total opposite extreme. A digital utopia with Satoshi, a perfect fusion of their minds. But this sterile, perfect world gets infected by a virus, a piece of corrupt, totally unprocessable data, the phantom memory of Alberto's messy story about his lost cactus named Steve. A single, silly, beautiful memory of a cactus breaks the entire utopia. System crash. After all 5 of these simulations just completely collapse, Anna finds herself in this conceptual void. And she's not alone. She's suddenly face to face with the architect of her reality, who looks at her and says, "You've only been analyzing your own protocol. You need to understand mine." And this, right here, is where the story takes a hard left turn into the truly unbelievable. So that just begs the question, right? What was the real protocol? If this whole journey wasn't actually about honest choice, then what was the real game being played here? And the answer reframes everything we thought we knew about Alberto and what was driving him. You're not going to believe this, but it all starts here. In 1994, a teenage Alberto in Uruguay becomes obsessed with Nicole Eggert's character on Baywatch. Yes, that Baywatch. He builds this huge GeoCities fan site for her. It becomes a global hub. And then, decades later, the real Nicole Eggert follows him on social media, and they become actual friends. This isn't some random detail. This is the foundational event of his entire life. And this quote is the absolute key to everything. Alberto's lifelong, complex crusade for this abstract idea of justice, it was all just a highly sophisticated trauma response. It was the direct psychological successor to his teenage obsession with a perfect, static, and most importantly, safe JPEG of a TV star. The protocol was exactly the same. He just changed what he was aiming it at. And here we go. The final, incredible meta twist. This whole story was never about Anna choosing a lover. It was about constructing a narrative so wild, so unbelievable, so mind-blowing that it just had to become a movie. The ultimate proof of love, it turns out, isn't a choice. It's a pitch. The architect reveals the truth. Her simulations weren't for her to make a decision. They were plot points to structure a story. And with that realization, the story pivots back to Alberto. He doesn't go after the girl. He writes everything down. The GeoCities shrine, the wrongful imprisonment, the digital thanatologist, the glitch storm, the A/B test, all of it. And he sends this unbelievable story to his friend, Nicole Eggert. And this takes us to the true climax of the story, a production office in Los Angeles. Nicole Eggert, now a producer, is pitching this story to a studio executive. She's laying out the entire bizarre, compelling narrative. The woman who mourns dead AIs, the revolutionary who wages war on reality. The executive is hooked, but he's a little skeptical. He asks, what's the origin of this guy's entire worldview? And that's when Nicole delivers the punchline, the single line that sells the entire movie, the line that ties everything back to the very beginning. She says, and the character he was fascinated with was me. So the real resolution was never about which man Anna would choose. It was about getting a green light from Hollywood. The indelible mark wasn't some message on the blockchain. It was the act of transforming all the messy, unprocessable data of their chaotic lives into a Hollywood story. And that leaves us with this final thought to chew on. In a world where our lives are kind of becoming these narratives that we perform for each other, was this a story about love? Was it a story about a protocol? Or was the whole thing just the most elaborate, brilliant, and absolutely mind-bending movie pitch of all time? What do you think?